to Blue Moon Radio on the Live 365 format. You can listen by computer or app. All Elvis, all the time. Every studio recording, movie soundtrack, and live album released from 1954 to 1977. Live broadcasts and special broadcast of rare albums. 24/7, 365 days a year. All free and no ads ever. Elvis will always be at your fingertips, in your car, and even better, in your bedroom with Blue Moon Radio. Who can ask for more? Did I say it's free? Start listening today.
Okay, we're supposed to go to there. Hello, everybody. My God, we can adjust your volume. It goes right through my ears. Okay. Hey, who we got here today so far? Olga's listening in. Very cool. Hello, Olga. Heather. Susan. Hello, Susan. Oh boy, Purple Green is in the house with us. It is, 2 in the afternoon for you. I bet you've never watched us with sunlight outside, have you? Purple Green, Susan. Lori, hello, Lori. Lily is in the house. Heather, again, Lily. All right. I think we're going to have some fun tonight. Okay. All right, so what I want to do is get over to the scene here so we can show some stuff. Good, I could read the chat pretty good. So, tonight's video is a video that was made from the all the film that was made when Elvis was doing the documentary called Gladiators on his, karate. Okay, Finnegan, I don't want to be licked all night, okay? The interesting thing about it is, like I told y'all, I upload these things to check about copyrights and all that. Now, this has got a couple of things in there that were said that it wouldn't be able to be watched, but they're like little 5-second, 10-second things. And then there was one section at the very end where they kind of revert over to 68 Comeback, where he does all the karate scene with the Big Boss Man. I think it was kind of cut out. It might have been a little bit in the original, but anyway, so I cut that out because we could see that at another time. But it's primarily all gladiator karate with Red West, and there's a narrator. So occasionally I'm going to pause it every now and then, and if we do get kicked off, I say this every time, but if we do get kicked off for it, I'll try to restart it in another scene. If we do get blocked with it and they won't let me come back on it, we'll save it for I'm creating Discord now, so I'll save it where we can watch it with no blocks. But I do have a good backup on Elvis and 56. So anyway, whatever we do, we are going to have fun. Let's see, Heather. What a promo. You like that promo, huh? Mm-hmm. We got to... I'm excited about that. Here's Lori. Hey. Hey, Dolores is in the house. It's hot everywhere, isn't it, Susan? You guys are getting brutalized. Oh, my God. We had a heat advisory yesterday, but it hasn't gotten anywhere near what you guys are getting. I think they do that because of the humidity. It makes it feel a lot hotter. Val, oh, you got a lot of Elvis going on. Yes, we do. We're going to recap a lot of that. It's 11 p.m. Yeah, so you're in Central Time. Is that right, Dolores? You must be Central Time. If we have anybody in the UK, it's bright and early in the morning. It's 5 there. 6, Cam's got it. 6 a.m. for Cam right now. But we got 13 watching. We're going to have fun. We're just going to hang out and have some fun. Watch Elvis do some karate. But real quick, so I'm excited because today we reached the 24,000 subscriber mark today. We have gained almost 500 new subscribers just in the last 28 days. And a lot of that's due to the little short videos I'm doing. And we're getting some of those people that are joining right now and starting to watch some of our live feeds. So I'm excited. I had one video that has got almost 200,000 views alone that I released 8 days ago. So we're excited. I mean, it's really cool. All the support we're getting from everybody. It's all due to you. Kathleen made it on time. Okay, so you can start saying goodbye early today. Olga, there's her hand. Thanks, guys, for that. We're really happy about that. So we'll get all the promo stuff out of the way so we can just have fun from this point forward. So, and I got a little interesting troll today. So this guy decided he would comment on one of the little short videos. Elvis blow Elvis blowed out of his mind playing Karate Kid. Man, the drugs were good back then. They said he used to get pure liquid cocaine and put it on cotton balls and stuff his nose full. The high would last for hours and hours. Gotta love the 70s. What a jerk. So, I'm gonna. This is how I replied. Okay, so Jesus, where's my comment? Is it in the other one? Oh, you trolls crack me up. The ignorance that pours out of your pea brains. Did you miss a? I must have been tired. You trolls crack me up. The ignorance that pours out of your pea brains. Did you miss a puppy to kick this morning? And then he comes back. Well, what's wrong about it all? And so and so said this, so and so said that, like Billy Stanley and all this. I said, dude, you want to use them as a reference? It's ridiculous. But the trolls keep coming, but they keep us busy. Yeah, Susan says, give me a break. Exactly. All right, so everybody knows we got Inside the Studio coming up this Saturday. The songs are Padre, Love in Arms, I'll Hold You in My Heart. And we have a special guest joining us for the studio. You all know him, and we're going to surprise you on Saturday. I am excited about having him on board with us. The first two songs were his pick, and I'll Hold You in My Heart is continuing with the American Sound. A song that he did in one take, Elvis did. So, we're excited about that. Of course, then Saturday morning, we've got the book chat, 11 a.m. Eastern Time. A lot of you join us for that. Tuesday nights are our watch nights, which we are doing right now. And Saturday is our watch party in the afternoon, evening, mornings, wherever you're at. And I haven't picked the one for this Saturday yet, but it's probably going to be... I'm thinking about doing this one. It talks about the manufacturing of Elvis's jumpsuits. It's called Fit for a King. So, yeah, so that's going to be kind of cool. I think I'm saving that for Saturday because hopefully Dylan will be able to join us with that one. And then, of course, you all know our Sunday coffee dates with Elvis every Sunday at 1:00. So that's got all the promos out of the way. I just want to bring to everybody's attention that Rich really got us on Sunday. Very emotional conversation. We were so happy to hear from him, and both him, he promotes us, and we promote him. We're a team. So Rich, which I'm very jealous of his graphics here because they're incredible. He started a Tupelo radio, same live 365. So check it out. He's got his stuff. He's got special things on there. He's got. And of course he's got his live show Sundays at 7, but he does a gospel hour on the radio. And I have created a Discord channel, and so this is where we're going to do our video watches of videos that we can't see on YouTube. And these are going to be documentaries. They're going to be television series that were created for Elvis, and they're going to be movies that were they're themed around Elvis. For example, the one with Kim Basinger, Finding Graceland. And there's some very kind of funny ones and, dumb ones and all that, but they're kind of fun. And then there's the one that's a documentary about the handicapped girl, and I can't think of the name of it. It's a really good film based on a true story about some girl. And sucks getting old. I should have got the information. So we got some cool stuff coming up, and gonna stay busy.
The movie's called Touched by Love.
Thank you, thank you. Yes, it's a great, great movie. Very touching. So, if you guys want to, I'll have the link down below. But join us. It's just like the WhatsApp chat. We're getting some more some joining us on the WhatsApp, but on the Discord, just like Steve's, same thing, same format. It's Elvis-A-Z. So I'll have the link down there. Join us. It's we're gonna do some little watch-alongs, and we'll have no problems with being blocked or anything like that. We'll be able to comment and all that good stuff. Cam and I are going to do a test run on just a little short video clip to make sure I got the thing figured out. Lily, it was such a exciting time for Van. Yeah, it was a true story about her love for Elvis, and it is. It's really good. So that covers all the promos. And so I think the time now is we should get into the movie. So I got to share media, and I got to go to desktop, and I got to go to wherever it's at, watch party videos, and here we are going up. Remove from scene. Okay, where'd the movie go? Remove from scene. Yes. Okay, I don't understand. Oh, I must have had that already in there. Sorry, guys. It's midnight. Sounds like a good title for a song. Okay, so here we go. Yeah, I got it. So, like I said, I'm going to pause it. Just little clips here now and then where I think they might, hopefully, not block us. They're like little 5-second bits, but I'm hoping to get by. I do have a backup video in the event it don't, and we can watch this on the Discord, or maybe I'll just go through and edit little clips out of here. It's like 80 seconds worth of little clips here, there, and there, and they tell me exactly where they're at. But I started going through there, and I'm just like, this is kind of chopping up the narration. So, maybe I'll just insert a photo of Elvis in those little clips and try it that way. But here we go. Here's Gladiator.
Here we have Red West putting his fist in Elvis's throat, and Elvis is going to display his chi power or key power and pushing Red West and Al Holcomb backwards.
See, this is one of the areas, 6 seconds of right here where they said it wouldn't be allowed. But let's see.
I was amazed at why Elvis would jeopardize his vocal cords and allowing somebody to do this. He's introducing Al Holcomb there, and Al's going to be putting on some self-defense technique moves, primarily things that work off of punches. And you'll be able to see better angles of this in a few minutes as we get rolling here. Now, Elvis started training in the martial arts when he was in the military over in Germany. And he had about 3 famous instructors that he studied under. Al Holcomb was one of our gladiators for this movie, but Elvis loved the passion and the discipline that the martial arts offered to us. And
I was just I didn't take it over. I didn't know he wasn't going to be there. I was just there to chat with everybody else because it was my set list. But I was really glad to help out. I know he wasn't feeling well. But thanks, Purple Green. I appreciate that. if he ever needed me to, I would do it.
My name is Wayne Carman, and I'm getting to narrate this film for you today. This is a unique experience for me, and the time I got to spend with Elvis was a mountaintop experience for me. I'm also the author of Elvis's Karate Legacy. I've written it, and it talks about Elvis's life and times in the martial arts and how he used the martial arts to
thanks,
better
Susan. It
himself,
was.
not only physically, but mentally and spiritually as well. The martial arts is 3 phases of training. It covers the physical, the mental, and the spiritual aspect of one's life. That's one reason Elvis wanted to do this documentary and promoting the martial arts worldwide. He thought it was great for children as well as adults, and he just loved the physical activity that it offered. These gentlemen here are just displaying some of the unique techniques that the martial arts offer. This gentleman here was from another school that was in Memphis. He was real quick and agile, and one of our gladiators that we had. You can hear Elvis talking in the background. Oh, that's a good move right there. It's a hard move to actually execute too, but it's real pretty when you have someone such as this gentleman or a real good black belt doing these moves. Elvis really, you'll see him, he's like the star of this film. He wanted other people to be recognized as well. He really didn't want all the big publicity for it.
He looks pretty damn good there. And this is,
Yeah.
this was, I think, 74.
I think so.
I think this was 74. Yeah. Hard to understand him talking though.
He is discussing and demonstrating these 5 moves, and I'll talk more about them on another camera view. You can see the passion he loved training with. He has
That's Stanley
Mr.
boy.
Stanley here on the side of his neck where his pressure points run up between the muscles.
I think it was 74. I'll check while we're watching this. Let me see.
He's striking him to the groin right here. And again, we have a better camera view here. In just a moment, you'll be able to see it. But Elvis had tremendous control over his techniques. His hands was just fabulous, mostly from the Kempo style that he trained with. Now, this right here is another gladiator. This is Superfoot Bill Wallace. Bill was one of the best, or not one of the best, but the best martial artist in the world. He was undefeated, and here he is demonstrating that famous left leg. You can see just kick the hair flies up on Red's head. And Red was a real tough martial artist. He enjoyed that contact from it and enjoyed getting hit on, just so he could really see how these techniques would work and apply. And he trained real hard. I won't ever forget when I first started training Red. I was actually how I kind of fell into.
It was 1974, Susan. Just to let you know, this was done in 1974.
I was one of the best in the country with a weapon called the nunchucks. And Elvis actually got my name and phone number from Charlie Church so I could train Red West on the weapon called the nunchucks. And he was just a dedicated student.
I really wish you could hear the dialogue better. Ooh, I bet that's cool, Heather. It's Dave Hebler.
Now this is Dave Hebler here. Dave was one of Elvis's bodyguards, but one of Ed Parker's right-hand men in his system. He was a fascinating martial artist as well. He loved the laws of physics. They love going through these patterns.
Don't worry about it, Susan.
They're like about 17 moves to him, and he could go through them in like 2.5 seconds.
I'm bad at it too. All right, a little less Red, a little more Elvis. There he is. There he went.
These elbow strikes are just devastating. Difficult to hurt your elbow, but real easy to hurt an opponent with. And this is an angle view shooting into the mirrors. We actually had 3 cameras set up this evening shooting, so you'll get to see all of these events from many different angles.
Leave it to Elvis to be in a karate demonstration wearing sunglasses.
Yeah, I figure his eyes were giving him trouble.
Yeah. You get your trolls out there that'll make stupid remarks about it.
Yeah.
Years of bright lights in your eyes, man. It'll do damage.
Yeah.
It's aggravating not being able to understand it.
Yeah, it would have been nice if we could hear what he was saying.
Once again, he's demonstrating his chi power with Red putting his fist in his throat. I was always amazed why he'd do this for a room full of people. Now he's going to take a shot from Red to the ribs.
Kathleen.
And the scream is what we call a key op. It's a way of generating more power.
Jeez, what happened there?
Or being able to absorb more pain without feeling it.
If this thing goes through pretty good, I'm going to see if I can edit and do something with that the audio. You know, replay it again with the audio. I want to be able to understand what Elvis is saying. I can hear the narrator, but I don't know, for some reason coming through here, the audio sucks. Sorry, guys. I just didn't know it was going to be this bad. If it gets much worse, we'll just flip over to the other video. It'll be a good one.
I was amazed seeing the pistol fall and hit the ground so hard. There'll be another camera view here in just a moment.
And I'm fine if I can see
Now,
all
this
the moves.
technique that Elvis is doing here, where he's holding that gun, is one of the best ways to keep him getting shot, even accidentally. Elvis loved these self-defense moves. Striking to the temple there, he's gouging the eyes out. There's an old saying, a finger in the eye will make a grown man cry, and you'll notice he does that quite a bit. Now here he's doing some eye gouging again. He'll turn him around. He's going to strike, actually do two strikes there, breaking the nose and hitting the eyes at the same time.
Ow.
Yeah.
And then an elbow to the sternum, and then a back fist to the throat, and then he hits him in the groin.
As if that would be necessary.
I kind of would like to have seen that, the Reds, just one time. Actually, oops, I didn't mean to get you.
Now that's a ripping effect that he's doing. It's like a tiger claw, eagle claw to the face. Elvis loved using these techniques in his performances on stage as well. Here he's striking the pressure points in his face. That's a pretty devastating strike. If you don't know what it's like, it's very painful. Now he's splitting the fingers and striking both eyes. He loves that technique. Strike into the throat, that's a great place to go. Solar plexus and then to the groin.
So I got a quick question for everybody here, because I'm getting kind of aggravated with not being able to hear Elvis and all that part of it. And I could probably enhance it and redo this later, and we can go to the Elvis 56 one. It's up to you guys. Just leave it in the comments if you'd like me to do that. We can, do the Gladiator one next week. I can enhance the audio. For some reason, when I was listening to it in my software, it was a little bit clearer, but broadcasting over here, it just sounds like there's mumbling. You can't understand a word they say. So you guys let me know. I'll keep playing here, and if I get a kind of consensus that we want to do that, then I won't take a second. I'll flip right into the 56 one, and it's about an hour. So you guys let me know. It's up to you.
Then a takedown. And then he'll follow it up, stomping him to the groin. You can't see
And
it
I'm
here.
good either way. I'm happy with
Now,
either way.
right here, you can see Elvis getting on his knees. This is what you do when someone pulls a gun.
No, Kathleen, they won't block it. All I'll be doing is just enhancing the audio in the background. The problem is that I had with you, we're already past the point where YouTube said that they would block it, so we got by that area. There's going to be a little bit more coming up, and it's mainly video, not so much the audio. So no, they won't block it. No different than what what I'm getting now.
On you at 10 feet away. You start praying. You can see a sense of humor.
What do you think, Cam?
I'm easy whichever way. I don't have an issue.
Okay, we'll see what a few more people have to say. I think
Love this.
Kathleen and Val are okay with it. I know Olga is probably just listening to it, and it's got to be aggravating to
Oh, and
her.
he says, the old master says, no way
But
to stop
everybody else,
bullet.
just tell me what you think. I am happy with any Elvis thing. Okay, Susan thinks it's okay, so she's. Does that mean you're okay with what we're doing, or you're okay with us moving, changing it?
Whichever way, whichever the way comes
Yeah,
out top, I'm happy with.
yeah. I was asking Susan. Yeah,
And this is
I'm
Kong
fine with
Ree.
that.
Kong Ree came over to the United States in 1964 from Seoul, Korea. He was real small in stature. He weighed about 140 pounds,
Jeez.
and he could almost defy gravity. But Elvis loved his ability because of how fast he
Okay,
was
we'll just keep
and his
going.
ability to do jumping kicks. He was a great kicker. Difficult to understand. He was Korean.
It's difficult to understand Elvis.
And that ring that Kong Ree has on his right hand there, Elvis gave that to him. It was a lion ring.
Kong Ree was the one who gave Elvis his last belt, right? Was the eighth degree?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, purple green. There's the Chi guy. Yeah, that's him. People make the remark that Elvis never really earned these belts, but Kong Ree had his reputation at stake. First of all, when it comes to martial arts, there's an honor system with it all. And he's not going to risk his reputation by giving somebody a fake belt,
Yeah, and what's he going to do? What's the point of buying the belts? There's no point in. So all those people that come, oh yeah, he just got the belts because he. No, the hell no, he earned the belt.
Yeah. Great cinematography.
And this is part of our 17 lethal weapon movements that Kong Ree did. It's part of our system of the Pasaru system. And he's real pretty doing this.
He's about the same
Elvis
size as
enjoyed
me.
this.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And this is what Elvis really liked was Mr. Ree's kickings.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Kathleen. I hope everything goes well.
Here we are meditating. We do this normally before and after class. He's leading us in our meditation, and it's a spiritual thing that we'd experience. Here we are at Congaree School.
Oh, that's better.
This is in Whitehaven. That's me right behind the post there. This was a mountaintop experience for me.
Yeah, you know, guys, I think I am gonna change it up. I mean, Olga can't understand it. I can't understand it. I really want to be able to get the audio right. You know, I apologize. I really do. I was so excited about this one, but I never realized that the audio would suck so bad coming through here. All right, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm sorry, guys. I know some of you wanted to keep going, but you know, I can't understand it. I'm getting aggravated. Yeah, I know it's not my fault, but I should be a little more attentive what I'm putting up. So, give me a second here, and we're going to just watch. I'm going to remove that, and we'll just do Elvis in the summer of '56. I should have stayed there, but this one's only 45 minutes, so we're not really gaining, and we're not going to be taking much more time because the other one was almost an hour. So here we go. Summer of '56. July 14th, LLC.
Hi, this is Elvis Presley.
What's this fucking kick me off now?
This is the boy that in the last year or so has become the outstanding show business personality in the entire world.
What's your opinion on this rock and roll phase that's going through the country right now?
Yeah, I'm hoping so. I'm gonna mess with the audio. I've got the software where I can enhance the audio somewhat. Try to get rid of all that background noise, and it'd be just the vocals. I can do that. So I'll play around with that, and if it works out good, then we'll, we can finish off watching it next week, or watch it all again, or put it on Discord, one or the other.
Because I don't know.
How old are you, Elvis?
21.
What age do you think might be the best for you to get married?
Well, I never thought much about it. I have no specific loves, and I'm not engaged. I'm not going steady with nobody or nothing like that.
Thanks, Tom. This touches a little bit on June Wanaco, which we did a video of, but it's a really cool video. I saw it years ago.
It was Christmas time, and he asked the teacher, the music teacher, if he could bring his guitar to class and sing, and she said, sure. He got up and sang, and I couldn't believe it because that wasn't the thing to do at that time. In high school, Elvis was kind of a shy guy.
Look how
his hair was
young he
longer
is.
than anybody's hair in the school, but the thing that really made Elvis stand out is the way he dressed.
His pants and his jackets, there are all kinds of different colors.
It was either black pants with black strap,
Or maybe a black pair of pants with a pink stripe down the side,
or pink slacks with black.
a sport coat with a collar turned up.
For sure, he had on a kind of see-through lace shirt with his hair all slicked back.
You couldn't miss him.
Well, out in public, I like real conservative clothes. But on stage, I like them as flashy as you can get them. Because on stage, your clothes play a very important part.
Wherever Elvis went, there were riots. Young girls were trying to tear him to pieces.
It was in front of the stage where all the chaos was. Elvis would create it by his movements on stage and his interplay with the audience.
Tupelo.
Singing rhythm and blues really knocks it out. I watch my audience and listen to them, and I know that we're all getting something out of our system. None of us knows what it is.
By 1955, a 20-year-old singer named Elvis Presley is hot in the Deep South. Elvis and his backup band played countless one-nighters, promoting their regional hits in places like Abilene, Texas, Leachville, Arkansas, and the Shreveport, Louisiana hayride.
They were splitting the money. Scotty, Bill, and Elvis. He was getting 50, They were splitting 50, which was 25 apiece. They were booking like $100 a day, $150 a day. Well, then they had to pay me and the car expenses and the hotels and all that out of theirs. And we were driving all over to get that little old money.
Who knew Scotty had such a fan base?
I want to thank all my loyal fans who watched my performances and in that way became friends of mine. I sure appreciate you listening to my records.
Yeah, I saw that video where they were setting it up.
On June 27th, Elvis arrives in the Gulf Coast city of Biloxi, Mississippi for 3 performances. In the audience the first night is 17-year-old Glenda Manduffy.
Oh, that's my mom's name.
The next day, Glenda calls her best friend June Wanico. Glenda is going to see Elvis again, and she wants June to come with her.
I didn't even know who Elvis Presley was. And she called me and he was appearing at the Airman's Club at Keesler Air Force Base in Biloxi. I already had a date. She said, I'll help cancel your date. He was just the best looking thing I had ever seen in my life. He really was. And so he took a break from playing. Glenda, my girlfriend, said, let's go over and talk to him. And I said, no, you can go over and talk to him if you want to, Glenda. I'm not going to go talk to him. And she says, well, let's go to the ladies' room. And so we had to pass right by Elvis. And she said, on the way back, let's stop and talk to him. And I don't know why I was playing hard to get or whatever, because we had made eye contact a few times while he was singing. And as we were passing by, he reached through the crowd and grabbed me by the arm. And he said, where are you going? You're not leaving, are you? And I said, no, I'm going back to my table. He said, well, when I get through playing, how about you stick around for a little while and show me the town? And I said, Biloxi's a real small town. There's nothing to see in Biloxi. And he says, well, show me what there is. We're both looking out at the water and the moon.
Yeah,
and he's
probably,
kissing me on the
Susan.
back of my neck. And then he turned me to face him, and he said, why are you trembling? I was trembling with excitement, you know. So he wanted to know, where did I learn how to kiss? I said, I think I'm learning right here from you. Elvis had real soft, full lips.
Oh, here we go.
He gets home at dawn after a night of kissing and talking.
I can imagine the chat now.
As she
We're on
falls
to soft
asleep,
lips.
She wonders if she'll ever see Elvis Presley again.
Kathleen's gonna run right into a detention.
56. June is working as a car hop and in a beauty salon. Her one night with Elvis is just a fading memory. She can't miss the fact, however, that the handsome singer she met at the airbase just a year before is now quite famous. He has the #1 record in the country and best-selling album. He's already made several network television appearances and even landed a movie deal. June and her friend Marie are on the way to Memphis for a vacation with 3 other girlfriends.
You guys.
Marie's first
there we go.
Elvis's new house.
I didn't really know that the reason she wanted to go to Memphis was because Elvis lived in Memphis. So as soon as we got to Memphis, we went to down in the area where Elvis used to buy his clothes at Lansky Brothers, I think is the name of the store. And Marie asked one of the salesmen there.
Look
what
how
was
cool
Elvis's
he looks,
address.
man. He just, Jesus, yeah, look at that. Look how cool he looks. Even back then, he started, man, he was just, jeez.
Salesmen there.
I really don't see. Oh, here we go. Let me get the fire started here. But I really don't know what the women saw in him.
What was Elvis's address? He gave her directions, and he said, I'm sure Elvis wouldn't mind you going by to see his house because he's not in town.
Elvis had recently moved himself and his parents into their first real home in a middle-class Memphis neighborhood.
So we drove over to Audubon Drive, parked out in the front.
Hey, Natalie, yeah.
The pool put in.
He's one of my
so
favorites,
I got out, the rest of the
absolutely.
girls followed, and I jumped up
Top,
and was
I would say
looking
the top
over
3.
the fence top like this, you know, looking at the pool.
Maybe
And
one, maybe
it's a
number
square
1.
Pool. And the pink Cadillac drives in the driveway. And it was Elvis and his mother and father. Elvis's cousin had drowned, and Elvis was called home for the funeral.
That's one of the
And he
Smith
walks
boys, wasn't
straight
it?
up to the fence and picks me up by the waist and puts me on the ground. He said, what are you doing here, June? And I was embarrassed. really to be
Oh
a
no,
car
just walking the
trespassing.
dog.
And I said, I'm on vacation with the girls. He had tried to call me when he came back to Biloxi, and I was never home.
Yeah, I said this while we were watching the documentary about her and Elvis. She had a very exotic look about her, just kind of I can't think of any other word. Very exotic. I thought.
He wanted to know where we were going and did we have any plans, and we told him that we were going to see a movie that night. And my friend had a hot pink Ford Fairlane car. You couldn't miss it. He found the hot pink
You
car
don't
parked
get
at
any
the
more
theater and
pink than
came on
that.
in and sat next to me and held my hand throughout the movie. And I thought that was really sweet.
Elvis asks June to go for a motorcycle ride the next morning.
My first motorcycle ride with Elvis was on Mud Island, and he took me there so he could open up the bike. He said, pull your hat down real tight so it don't blow off, and we were just really moving out. And I was just beside myself with excitement, more so than fear. And when we stopped, he was breathing heavy with fear as opposed to excitement. When I think about it now, that was an insane thing to do, just totally insane.
June sees Elvis every day that week. They quickly discover they love each other's company. At the fairgrounds, Elvis wins a giant panda bear.
Tell you what, her
for
lips aren't
June,
that
which she
bad looking
probably
either.
loves Elvis. He shows her around Memphis. They swing past Sun Records, the Memphis courts where his family once lived, and Hume's High. They visit Dewey Phillips, the first DJ to play Elvis on the radio. Elvis brings June home to meet his parents. They listen to blues records. Elvis Presley shows June how Elvis likes his fried chicken prepared. Elvis gets a long-distance call and asks June if she'd like to fly to Houston with him to pick up his new Cadillac. Gladys asks June how old she is. She doesn't want her son traveling with an underage girl. 18, June replies. It's June's first airplane ride. It's also her first night away from home with a boyfriend. Although booked in separate hotel rooms, they sleep in each other's arms.
There was something about being with Elvis, I just trusted him that he would never do anything to hurt me or anything.
The next day, Elvis and June drive the new Eldorado back to Memphis, top down.
Even by today's standards, that's a cool looking car.
Oh yeah, those '50s cars, man.
We drove back to Biloxi.
Nothing like it.
The
It's
town,
taller
the
as a
city of
rock.
Biloxi knew that I had this long date in Memphis with Elvis. The daily newspaper, the Daily Herald, did an interview with me after we went to Memphis. Total strangers wanted to rip my eyes out. You think you're really something, and you're not. You're trash and all this kind of stuff. But you just overlook stuff like that.
What
Elvis
jerks, man.
said that he had a
They had
vacation
trolls
coming up
back
and he was
then,
gonna
man.
come and spend it in Biloxi. And so
No,
sure
they don't.
enough, the first part of June, Elvis arrived in Biloxi. And I didn't really know when he was coming in. And he told my mother, he said, well, tell June I'm sorry I missed her, but I'm on my way to Florida where I can get some peace and quiet. So me and my girlfriend jump in her car, parked on a hillside that we could see all the traffic leaving Biloxi, so I could stop him. We sat there for a good 2 hours, no sign of Elvis. So when I get back home again, my mother is just frantic. She said, Elvis has called here half a dozen times, wanting to know where you are. And I said, well, I've been trying to stop him from leaving town.
Elvis tells the press he's heading for Florida.
How long you plan to be in Biloxi?
I'm going to Miami, Florida.
But his plan is to stay in Biloxi and spend time with June. Still, he can't get away from fans or reporters. That evening, Elvis and June are reunited at Coco's restaurant. Over dinner, Elvis relates his dilemma to June's mother's boyfriend, Eddie Bellman.
Well, when I first met him, he had to leave the motel down here in Biloxi because of the fact that people found out he was there, and they kept coming by and banging on his door and everything.
He was registered at the Sun and Sand Hotel under the name of Arthur Hooten, one of his buddies' names. That's a real name, Arthur Hooten.
Rarely traveling alone, Elvis has come to Biloxi with Arthur, whose mother once worked with Elvis's mom. Red West, who it's said became Elvis's friend because he once stopped high school football players from giving Elvis a haircut in the locker room, and Elvis's cousin Gene Smith, who seems to just go where Elvis goes.
So I said, Elvis, I got a couple of houses, and I said, I can let you have one of them. If you and your friends want to stay there, you can come to the house and stay. I said, it's already furnished and all. And he said, well, I think that would be nice. And I took him in my car so people wouldn't recognize that Cadillac of his.
Meanwhile, the press and the general public and everyone had figured out that he was there.
The first thing you know, the crowd was all around the house, aggravating him. Come on out, Elvis, and give us your signature. Come on out and sing for us. He was trying to get a little rest and take a nap, and he just couldn't. So he said, Eddie, he said, I guess I'm going to have to go somewhere else.
He rented a family-owned house, the Hack, H-A-C-K. So he leased the house for the summer.
The luxury home is located a few miles outside of Biloxi in an upscale resort complex known as the Gulf Hills Dude Ranch.
The reason Elvis had so much privacy in Gulf Hills was because it was so easy to get lost, and his house was out of the way. And that's where we would come and go from. Well, the rest of June and July.
I used to have
On
fun in
July 1st,
Biloxi. We used to go down there
1956,
quite a bit.
Elvis appears live on the Steve Allen Show. On the 4th, his concert in Memphis draws 13,000. The following Monday, Elvis is back in Biloxi, looking forward to spending a vacation with June.
Elvis never did drive slow. Elvis got ticketed in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. I think the guy probably saved his carbon copy and, you know, as a souvenir. Happy that he had been the one to stop Elvis.
At Gulf Hills, Elvis and his entourage are away from fans and the press. June asks her friends Pat and Buddy, both crazy about Elvis, to join the group. In the evening, they all sing songs in the hotel lounge.
Oh, wouldn't it have been cool to be sitting there listening
They
to that?
smoke tiny cigars and use them to set off fireworks at the resort's golf course. This results in a polite letter from the hotel manager pointing out it would be safer to explode fireworks on the beach. Despite Elvis and June's seclusion at Gulf Hills, the word gets out. Newspapers and magazines from all over the country are calling for an interview with Elvis's teenage girlfriend.
The most asked question that I've ever been asked was Elvis a good kisser? And the second most asked question was, did you go to bed with him? I didn't answer that one.
When a New Orleans radio station broadcasts news of Elvis's
Nobody's
engagement to June,
business.
Elvis fears his manager, Colonel Tom Parker, might hear the story.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have had comments from June Wanico down in Biloxi concerning her purported engagement to Elvis Presley. And we were shocked a few minutes ago by the man himself. When did you come into town?
Well, I just came in. Yeah, I was in Biloxi, and I heard on the radio where I was supposed to be engaged to somebody.
Well, just what is the story? Are you engaged to anybody?
No,
I like the way he says that. I guess I'm supposed to be engaged to somebody. I wonder how that made June feel when he heard it. Well, probably not. Probably fine.
Dated a couple times.
Well, you know how this whole thing started last night. We got.
Well, I don't. I excuse me for butting in, but I don't know how I got started. But everywhere I go, I mean, I'm either engaged or married, or I've got 4 or 5 kids. But I have no plans for marriage, and I'm not engaged, or I'm not going steady with nobody, or nothing like that.
Although Elvis tells listeners he's not about to wed, June's mother still has a good feeling about the young star.
I liked him right off the start. I liked Elvis because he wasn't loud. He didn't use any foul language, and he was just a fine, well-cut man.
June's mother's boyfriend, Eddie Bellman.
She never heard any of the sessions.
Eddie had not really kept up with Elvis's career or anything like that. He liked him as a young man because he respected his mother and father. Everything he said was yes, sir, and no, ma'am, and thank you, and please. And he was a real Southern gentleman. And Eddie admired that. So
That's a
he
good
thought
point,
he would
Susan.
arrange a deep-sea fishing trip. He had a friend that had a charter boat.
That was the first trip he'd ever been on as far as deep sea fishing or any kind of fishing. So Elvis enjoyed it so much. On the way back to Biloxi, Elvis
Look how
asked if
skinny he
I
is
could
there.
arrange to get the boat again. because he wanted to invite his mother and father down to go with us.
He called them long distance. We were all in the room with him. And he said, I want y'all to come down Saturday morning and go fishing.
His mother and father came down the next day, and I met him.
We met the mother and the daddy, Mr. and Miss Presley, on a Friday night. And they didn't know how to get to Guff Hills. I said, I'm June's mother. This is Mr. Bellman, and y'all follow us, and we'll take you to Elvis. Who else has a pink Cadillac but the Presleys?
It's Friday the 13th, the day RCA releases Hound Dog and Don't Be Cruel.
Wow.
By the end of Elvis's vacation in Biloxi, the record will sell 1 million copies.
The following day, we went fishing again. And his mother and father fished, Elvis fished, all his friends fished, June fished, everybody fished. I didn't fish, I was busy taking film, taking footage with my little 8mm.
You know what's amazing is that they've got all these home videos and they actually have them in color.
Yeah.
This is 1956. Not too many people had personal people, you know, just, you know, normal, I don't know how to put it, just regular people. They are not involved in filmmaking. Those had to have been expensive cameras to buy back then.
Yeah.
You get a little 8mm in color.
Camera. I asked Elvis, would he mind? He says, no, you take all you want. It was in my closet for years and years.
Elvis was reeling in sharks and everything else, you know, and it was something new to him.
We just killed a fish that day, just had them strung up like you just wouldn't believe. I think Mrs. Presley brought a jar of peanut butter. She brought bananas too. Somehow during the day, she managed to make him a peanut butter and banana sandwich, which we all came to call an Elvis Presley sandwich.
His mother was looking after
And
Elvis
they
when
go.
he was a young child, and she kept bringing him peanut butter sandwiches while he was fishing.
What a great
And
video
she
with
was
his
handing
mom.
it to him and feeding him while he was fishing, and that's a fact. It's on the film. All that's on the film.
Before he started eating, she was holding it for him to take bites. Evidently, she wasn't feeding him fast enough or something, so he took it and was eating it. Fishy hands and everything.
I brought a bunch of German officers' caps back from Germany with me during World War II, and I gave them to Elvis and all his friends.
And Eddie, knowing that we should have had hats on to be out in the hot sun that length of time, brought those hats for us to put on to fish to keep the sun out of our faces.
Yeah.
They put on the caps and they started singing on the boat here. I think they sang Hound Dog and Don't Be Cruel, and that's two I remember.
That stick is a boom on top of the boat, and it looked like a giant microphone. He was just standing up there and he saw this big thing, and he went behind it and started pretending he was singing to this tall microphone. And it wasn't, it was just the boom on the boat. It was funny. Elvis was funny.
Elvis and June don't care much about their lack of privacy. Could life get any better?
So if Elvis had come to Kathleen with fishy hands, she would have said, ew, fishy hands. Knocked out.
Before we got back into Biloxi, a boat approaches us, and we're on our way in. So our captain slows for this boat to come alongside, and two reporters jump on the boat. So this kind of ticked Elvis off pretty good. So in the film footage, you will see that Elvis is sitting up on the bow of the boat. I reach over and adjust his belt because his name is crooked on it. But the reason we were up on the front of the boat is because Elvis had put a friend here on this walkway area, another friend on this walkway area, to block the reporters from getting to it.
It's Susan.
As the boat nears land, hundreds of fans and press...
No way, bring on the fishy.
The captain decides he better dock further down shore, but not before a photographer captures this portrait of the weary fishing party.
I asked Elvis, would he mind making a 5-minute appearance at my shoe department? I had a ladies' shoe department and a ladies' wear store. And he said, sure, Eddie, I'll be glad to come by. So people started pouring in down here from all directions.
You see that?
They had to let them in shift, and they like to tore the man's store up, but he got so much good publicity, he didn't mind that at all. The man that owned the store, he said, let's give Elvis a present. I said, that's not necessary. I said, he's doing this because I took him on a couple of fishing trips. And I said, he's not expecting it. He said, let's give him something anyway. I said, well, if you want to give him something, I said, let's give him a shotgun.
And
so
she
I went
hates
up to a
fish.
sporting goods store. I got a 410 gauge Winchester pump. Fine little gun. And
Nice gun.
I presented it to Elvis, and boy, he was just as happy as a child eating ice cream, you know. I brought some skeet targets out to Gulf Hills, and he did pretty good. He missed a few.
Great
but he
videos,
hit
man.
more than he missed.
Good
And
quality
he let
too.
us friend shoot and all
Yeah.
that. We just had a ball. Somebody brought a BB gun up there.
Just
And everybody started
being
shooting
normal,
the
you
BB
know?
gun, and he held a cigarette paper in his hand like that to let somebody with the BB gun to shoot the paper out of his hand. He did, that's a fact. And luckily the guy didn't hit his thumb.
The days drift by lazily at Gulf Hills. Elvis and June are happy together. They have all the time in the world, it seems, to be with one another. Elvis loves being with his small-town girl. and
Definitely
looks
has
for
some
ways to
nice
show it.
legs.
One day he commissions the
Yeah.
famous Gulf Coast artist Harry Reeks to do a portrait of each of them.
And Elvis was not too pleased with it and said that it didn't do me justice. And Mr. Reeks, he was such a sweet gentleman, he said, well, it's hard to capture that much beauty. But Elvis patiently sat for this one for about a good 45 minutes. He had gotten in a big box of souvenirs that Colonel Parker used to peddle, and he reached in and took out this pink scarf and draped it around my neck and pretended to be strangling me with it.
With Elvis and June caught up in such simple pleasures, who would suspect Elvis Presley is on the verge of becoming the most famous entertainer in the world?
He was really and truly a young boy.
Always like
He
that
had a
picture.
serious side to his nature. I think he took his art seriously, but he didn't take himself seriously.
He liked fun, and he liked good times, and he liked people. He just liked to rock and roll. You know, it don't take long to get sunburned out here if you're not accustomed to it. And if you're fair-skinned like he was sort of fair-skinned. He had a shirt on and a life jacket because of that, because he had gotten sunburned.
While Elvis water skis, June gets a skiing lesson. When Elvis doesn't see her watching him, he becomes irritated.
He was very jealous, very possessive.
Yes, rapping bake. Well, who? Elvis? Rapping bake.
No fish.
Oh, okay.
He wanted me right next to him
Oh,
at all
okay. I see
times.
what you're- Sorry.
We never did really fight. Never did. And if we did have an argument or a disagreement, Elvis would take me away from the crew of friends in someplace private and apologize. The Hack House, the house that he rented for the summer, had a big front lawn that was kind of like a sloping hillside with nice clean cut grass and everything. We were laying out under the stars, passionate kisses. And he said, I can't get married right away. I promised the Colonel I'd wait at least 3 years. He said, will you wait 3 years for me, June? And I said, sure, I'll wait.
Anxious to spend more time with his parents while on vacation, Elvis drives them to New Orleans. June sits in the back with Elvis's mom.
Elvis went unrecognized. He had on a silly little hat and sunglasses, and this one little teenage girl tapped him on the shoulder, and he thought, oh goodness. And he turned around and she said, Mister, will you take a picture of us? And the girls lined up in a line, and Elvis snapped their picture for them.
Gladys says she's never seen Elvis taken with a girl as much as...
How long ago did she pass away? Or did she?
I have no idea.
Yeah, I think she.
I think she's still around, actually.
Yeah, she is. She's 86 years old.
My goodness.
Wow. She was 3 years younger than Elvis.
June. She kids Elvis that he better not let Colonel Parker know just how much. Too shy to call Mrs. Presley
Oh,
Gladys, June
that's
calls
sad.
her Lovey.
So she's got dementia.
Gladys affectionately calls June Satnin.
Mrs. Presley was admiring the houses. Mr. Presley would rather just watch where he's going than look at anything. She was saying, wouldn't that be wonderful to live in a place like that? And it ended up, 6 months later, Elvis buys Graceland that looked like one of the homes on the beach, like some of those antebellum homes. We were passing the cemetery, and she said, that's the prettiest cemetery I've ever seen in my life. Stop and take a ride around and go. So this was the cemetery in Metairie. She told Elvis that she said she would like to be, not to be put in the ground. She would like to be put in a tomb like that one of these days. And he just said, it's time to go get back in the car. We're not going to talk about this. We're not even going to be here.
Sure.
Elvis loved his mother dearly. She was his best friend. When I first went on the road with Elvis, she would tell me, she would say, George, now, you look after my son. You make sure that he calls home and talks to me. And remind him to call me every night.
When he first started, it gave him tremendous pleasure to get her everything that was beautiful. He was very close and very devoted to his mother because she believed in him.
It was the most tragic thing in his life when Gladys passed away.
He wasn't the same after that.
In the middle of his Biloxi vacation, Elvis returns to Memphis saying he has business to take care of. June wonders if it's to see Barbara Hearn, his much publicized other girlfriend. She doesn't ask. Exhausted, June catches up on sleep. A few days later, Elvis is back, knocking on her door.
Elvis spent quite a bit of time at June's mother's house there, you know. When he wasn't over at Gulf Hills, he'd be there.
Well, I remember him coming here one day, and a lady called on the phone, and she had a little girl that had leukemia. And the little girl was crazy about Elvis.
And she wanted to know if she could bring her by and let Elvis talk to her.
And I asked him, and he said, sure, come, tell her to come on up.
I'll be glad to see her and talk with her.
They came on in the house and met Elvis, and he said, we don't want to be bothered with anybody, because that's mine and Carol's time. And she was thrilled that he spent that much time with her, and it wasn't but about maybe a month or so that she had passed away. That she had got her wish to, you know, to be with Elvis.
I had received a copy of The Prophet for a graduation gift. And I had gotten so much out of this book. When you read this, it gives you a different way to look at different things.
Yeah.
One night when he brought me home from Gulf Hills, I ran inside and got him my copy of The Prophet. And I said, read this. So he just took it from me without saying anything. And when he came back to my house, he had read most of The Prophet. And it brought a calm over him that was just unbelievable. And he said, I love the book. Can I keep it? And I said, it's yours. So come to find out, he kept it, a copy, not necessarily my copy, but a copy of The Prophet by his bedside throughout his entire life.
Colonel Parker has booked Elvis on a 10-day Florida concert tour in early August. After that, Elvis is to begin filming his first motion picture, Love Me Tender, in Hollywood. Knowing that Elvis will be clear across country in just a few weeks, June begs her mother to let her go on the tour. It takes the persuading of both Elvis and Gladys Presley to convince June's mother to say yes. The night before they leave for Florida, Elvis and June stay together until morning in Elvis's bedroom at Gulf Hills. It's not for lack of desire that June stays a virgin.
It's funny because things were different than they are today. You know, you had people with, you know, there were only a few bad girls in the whole school, you know, if you know what I'm talking about.
According to June,
Yeah.
Elvis is often the one to stop short of going all the way. In an era where premarital sex is less accepted, June believes
I
that
don't know
Elvis
why they
expects him
always
to be
have
a
to
virgin.
put this kind of stuff in there.
To
It's
make
really
June less
pointless.
conspicuous to Colonel Parker on the Florida trip, Elvis suggests she ride with her friends Pat and Buddy, who are also invited
Yeah, I
to follow
agree.
along.
It's like,
On
It's
tour,
got
Elvis
nothing to
plays
do with
back-to-back
anyone.
concerts, all filled to standing room capacity. June, Pat, and Buddy watch Elvis from the wings. It's the first time June has seen Elvis perform since the night they met. She can't help feeling jealous when she sees thousands of screaming girls competing for Elvis's attention. When June asks how he feels about the affection of so many females, he tells her they don't love me. They love the idea of me. With the press and the colonel lurking in the hotel, June returns to her room each night. Elvis later sneaks down the hall to join her secretly. Much to Colonel Parker's irritation, the press quickly figures out that June is traveling with Elvis.
The colonel did not approve of girls in Elvis's room because he was afraid that something would happen and it would be bad publicity.
that was none of Colonel Parker's business either.
Because, you know, those girls will
No.
drop you if you get
That
involved
wasn't
or
part of
get
the
married or
contract.
something.
That wasn't.
Elvis accepted colonel's advice, which was very...
Parker had no business interfering with Elvis's personal life. Now, I can understand him having a concern that if he, you know, got somebody pregnant or whatever, but he, you know, if he can't trust his client.
No.
Sorry, guys, I'm getting some water here. Then, yeah, but I never saw. I've read it. I've read the contract. Nothing either ever said about him managing his personal life.
No. Elvis gave the colonel way too much rope, in my opinion.
On that aspect, yeah,
On that aspect, yeah.
yeah, I agree. I just because you know, no matter what what Parker said or anybody said, if it was going to happen, it would have happened. No
Exactly.
matter what anybody said, no matter what Parker said or anything like that. Now, Parker may have put a fear into him. You don't need to be getting married now and all that. And I kind of agree with that in one aspect because he was a sex symbol and it would really alienate a lot of fans. But once again, it's none of his freaking business on that aspect or anybody else's business about their personal, intimate, you know, lives.
Yeah, and then irony of all ironies is 10 years later. 10 years later, he says, "Oh no, it's fine to get married now." All of a sudden,
Yeah.
makes you wonder that it wasn't a case of allow him to get married because he wanted to get married. It was a good business decision.
Kathleen. You talking to me?
Oh
I
my!
trust this client.
Detention, time out for Kathleen. There we go. Ding ding. 5 minutes.
I know we're hitting hard at Kathleen. Oh, I love these lively ones. When you start getting into, see, we couldn't have got into the discussion with Gladiator, other than checking out Elvis's ass or something like that. Of course, never mind. Now I've started something I shouldn't have started. Let's get back to it.
Rise of Elvis. Colonel Parker really created Elvis. When you see
I don't remember her name being mentioned in the book we've gone through so far. Do you?
No.
Parker's assistant. I mean, she may not have even figured into anything. But I don't know what time stage this is. So apparently, she must have been his assistant during that time period in order to be talking about it. But I just don't recognize her name at this point. Who knows? It may be in our next discussion.
His role was to create an Elvis Presley.
He gave me some pretty dirty looks from time to time. Colonel Parker, being the snake that he was, I just smiled.
And nobody really liked him, but you tolerate him, He knew what he could get for Elvis.
The Colonel is furious when he sees a feature article quoting June's mother saying Elvis will marry June in 3 years. He demands that Elvis do something immediately about the bad press. Elvis quickly concocts a story for the Miami Herald, saying he has not one, but 25 steady girlfriends.
There we
Elvis
go.
orders June to keep her mother quiet. He later apologizes, saying he feels he's losing control of his life. June wonders why Elvis won't just stand up to the Colonel if he loves her so much.
He'd come to me, I mean, even early days, and say, Colonel wants me to do this. He wants me to, I don't want so. I said, well, tell him. You know, I said, sit down and tell him. And tell him why you don't want to. Oh, no, I made a deal with him. He's going to take care of this, and I'll take care
No,
of the thing.
don't do that,
Also agitated
Kathleen.
about other things.
I've been getting some pretty bad publicity lately.
We love that conversation.
He was upset because people were saying that he was a child of the devil, and you know, and he was leading our children. He just wanted people to like him.
I certainly don't mean to be vulgar or suggestive. That's just my way of expressing songs. You have to put on a show for people. You can't stand there like a statue.
After the final show of the tour, June misses her ride and doesn't get back to Elvis's hotel suite for an hour. She finds him in bed in a cold sweat, still dressed. He's just awoken from a nightmare. He says he dreamed he saw himself in a coffin. His mother was standing over him crying. Elvis holds June close. She fears something's about to happen. On August 20th, Elvis Presley begins filming his first motion picture.
Elvis would go to the movie theater when he was young, and he would study the actors, how they acted on the screen and what they wore and the looks that they used. He was looking forward to it. He loved movies.
Hollywood turns out to be a different place than he expected.
You know, we don't mention this a lot, but George Klein was a pretty loyal friend to Elvis. Nothing really out there that I ever saw that was a negative with him.
He misses June. He sends her telegrams and even invites her to California.
He was very intimidated. He was just a small town country boy, and you know, and Hollywood's a different city all on its own and everything, and a lot of people telling you exactly what to do, and he was so anxious to please. And Elvis's only real problem that he had out there was he wanted it to be a straight acting part with no songs. And they did come up with one song, and he agreed that he would sing the song, but it wouldn't show him singing it. It was going to be playing in the background with his voice. He would not be singing it on screen. And he said, but it's a nice song. He sang it to me over the phone, and that was, it used to be called Orally, and they changed it to Love Me Tender. He was pleased with the song. He was not pleased, however, when they decided to make him into a little stage performer in the movie.
It was just like Sinatra was. They found a niche in Hollywood, and he fit perfectly into that niche.
I think the main reason that he was so upset about singing was because he hated musicals. When we went to see The King and I in Biloxi, and Yul Brynner would turn to Deborah Kerr, and instead of saying, I love you, he would start singing, and Elvis would say, I can't stand it, I can't stand it, you know, let's get the hell out of here. And so we walked out on The King and I. But he hated musicals, he really did.
I've had people ask me, was I going to sing in the movie, and I'm not. I took strictly an acting test, and I wouldn't care too much about singing in the movie.
Colonel Parker, he wasn't really artistic-minded. He said all Hollywood is interested in is making money. And my boy, he called him Elvis, my boy, said, my boy's making a lot of money. That's why we're still making these pictures. We're not going to change until this format runs out.
Co-starring with Elvis is the beautiful starlet, Deborah Paget.
Elvis thought Deborah Paget was one of the most gorgeous ladies that he'd ever met in his entire life. He had a crush on her.
I think Elvis would have liked to gone out with Deborah Paget and captured her for his very own, but Deborah was off to Elvis, which I was grateful
Go for
it. She was seeing someone
else.
else.
Susan said, go for it.
Never realized.
Also starring in the movie is veteran actor Richard Egan.
Boy, he had a lot of high praise for
Elvis.
Elvis.
Richard Egan, and he says, how much do you love Richard Egan? And I said, oh, about as much as you love Deborah Paget.
Elvis is meeting lots of people in Hollywood, including Nick Adams. The pushy young actor impresses Elvis because of his supporting role in the James Dean film, Rebel Without a Cause. Nick introduces Elvis to Dean's
No, that's
co-star,
not Deborah Paget,
Natalie
Purple.
Wood.
She was probably the
That's
hottest young
Dolores
female
Hart from
actress in
Loving You.
Hollywood at the time.
2 weeks into the filming of Love Me Tender, Elvis makes his first appearance on The Ed Sullivan Show. TV Guide marks the occasion with doing a cover story. June and her mother buy a television so they can watch. They are not alone. 82% of American households with a TV turned on that night see the broadcast.
Okay, yeah, you've got me curious here. Sound it out. Orally. Huh? Okay. I got it now. It takes a while. Okay, we got it.
Elvis is proclaimed the king of rock and roll. When Love Me Tender wraps in mid-October, Elvis returns to Memphis, anxious to see his parents. He calls June and wires her money to fly up and stay with him. Back on Audubon Drive, June can see how much things have changed. Now large groups of fans constantly linger outside the Presley's home, hoping to meet Elvis.
Ding, ding.
He attracts huge crowds, even in Memphis, where he once felt less conspicuous. Elvis and June lie in bed talking for an hour. June asks him about stories in the press detailing romances with other women.
And when I questioned him about it, he said, "Don't believe anything you read in the paper. Everything you read about me is for publicity purposes."
Longing for privacy, Elvis stays home. After days of feeling trapped, he and June slip out to a local Memphis theater to see newsreel footage of Elvis's Tupelo homecoming concert. When moviegoers realize Elvis is actually in the building, there is a riot. Surrounded by police, he barely escapes the theater and close behind.
Just one more
Elvis
thing.
tells her that for the first time, he fears for his own life.
His mother didn't want us to go. She was afraid that somebody was going to kill her son or hurt him.
Nick Adams arrives from Los Angeles. He talks openly in front of June about Natalie Wood's interest in Elvis. June wonders why Elvis ever invited him. Elvis says Nick more or less invited himself.
Yeah, Elvis said he was a lonely little guy. Be nice to him, June. But Nick even made a couple of passes at me. You know, and I said, you better keep your hands. If you want your hands, you better keep them to yourself.
Elvis and June ride out to Mud Island to talk. It doesn't seem like the same place it once was. Elvis is clearly distracted by all the new things going on in his life. June...
Didn't Nick Adams commit suicide?
I have no idea.
He was in that movie No Time for Sergeants. He died in 68. What the hell did he die? For an actor. See, I got the book that was written. I think his daughter finished it off and released it. It's actually a pretty good book about his life. He wrote most of it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, he killed himself. Some movie he was all excited about, I guess, fell through, and he thought his career was going nowhere. Sad.
Elvis wanted me to go and have studio portrait made. And so I agreed to go have a studio portrait made. And when I got in there, the photographer said, did you want one smiling and me and my silly wit? I said, well, I don't know, crying might be good. And so we did. Premonition of some
look
sort.
at that
I don't
picture.
know, for me to send Elvis a picture of me crying.
Elvis entertains Natalie Wood in Memphis. June sees newspaper stories about Natalie's visit. A few days later, Elvis calls June. He tells her the colonel found out about her stay in Memphis. He says they will have to cool it for a while.
I can't totally blame Colonel Parker for wrecking our relationship, because Elvis could have said, I'm not interested, I'm not going to do it.
On November the 19th, fans are going wild buying tickets to see Love Me Tender. It's June's 19th birthday. She does not hear from Elvis.
Yeah, Susan, you're right. Natalie Wood had a reputation of being a little bit of a vengeful person, if I can think of a better word.
Elvis
Great
is dating a
actress,
Las Vegas
beautiful actress,
showgirl.
but
The girl is spending the weekend on Audubon Drive.
It didn't really make me jealous. It broke my heart. Elvis didn't need me. He had, the whole world full of girls of his choice. But no, I was not going to take a back seat to anyone.
The day after Christmas, the telephone rings. Elvis is calling to say happy holidays. June asks why she hasn't heard from him.
those
I don't
eyes,
know that he
man.
tried to call because I had no answer machine on my phone back then. He claims that he did try to call.
June's New Year's resolution is to forget about Elvis Presley. She knows that she isn't cut out for his world. On March 18, 1957, June gets a telegram. Elvis wants her to meet him in New Orleans, where he'll be changing trains. He's heading back to Memphis, about to move into Graceland. June decides to go to the station. She has something she needs to tell him.
It was really hard, and he kept saying, you got to come home with me. I got a surprise for you. Mama can't wait to see you, and you're going to stay on the train with me. He was just ranting on, and I said, I can't go with you. I'm engaged to be married. But I'm telling Elvis Presley that I have met someone and I'm engaged to be married, and I hope it hurts him, I just blurted it out. I didn't know how else to tell him, and he just looked at me. So that's how.
How many women out there? I mean, she's a smart lady. She could have gone ahead and just followed him and done it for the rest of her life and lived off that high of being Elvis Presley's girlfriend. But she didn't want that kind of life. It was all or nothing. As far as she was concerned, you either love me all or nothing at all. I'm moving on.
I guess she was clever in a sense too that uh, she kind of read very early on that at the end of the day, and she said it, at the end of the day, she wanted Elvis to put her first.
Yeah,
And she knew very early on that uh, unfortunately the Colonel was first.
yeah.
And as much as it hurt her, she knew that if she allows that now, it's never going to change. And I don't blame her for that. I don't blame her for that. Elvis could have easily told the Colonel where to go get off, very easily.
Now compare that to the situation with Priscilla, and I hate to
Yeah,
go off of this subject, but
yeah.
I more and more over the last several years feel that it was all
It
a
was publicity.
publicity, and it was all here's Elvis in Germany. Ooh, I could connect her with him, and I could, if he could fall in love with me or the whole situation. If I could develop a relationship, look where I could go. Look what I could do. Look what I could
Yeah,
have. And
yeah,
she went all through those years. She went through that whole deal of being upset because he's starring with these movie stars, these beautiful co-stars, and the
yeah,
stories are coming out. And Margaret, June would have walked away. I'm done.
yeah, yeah,
It's all or me or nothing. But Priscilla, and this is my humble opinion, accepted it because she knew that if she married Elvis, she was set for life.
yeah,
So she accepted that, but she still put on the front that you know, she hated. She put on the front about being upset about the co-stars and the relationships, and we all know that they went on. And I'm not a fool. I mean,
yeah.
damn, he was Elvis Presley, and I, as far as I'm concerned, he wasn't really committed to anybody, was he?
No, and I mean, am I saying, am I saying he was miserable all the time in his marriage? No, probably not, because that's never the case. But he wasn't absolutely 100% happy all the time. The only good thing that came out of it for him was Lisa.
Yeah,
And I mean that's the opposite end of the spectrum. Uh, the colonel said no with regard to June, and he let it slip. And with Priscilla, he said yes, and he didn't want to. And what happened?
Well, there's that rumor and all that in the story. We'll never know that Lisa, that Priscilla actually was pregnant when they got married. So we'll never know the real truth. I mean, there's just no way that that it'll come out, and that he wound up having to marry her because Parker didn't want that to be out there. But I don't feel it was. I think I think it happened the night, obviously the night they got married. It's 9 months later. So, pregnancies, a term on a pregnancy is usually about 9.5 months, a little bit longer, about 9.5 months. But, a lot of kids, you're talking 2 weeks. So the window there is within that frame. But, I to this day don't think he ever really wanted to get married.
No.
I don't think he wanted to, and just the stories. But it's just like everything else. We will never. There's a lot of things that no matter how many books, no matter how many people talk. I mean, what 90% of the people involved at the time are gone and dead, anyways.
Yeah.
So the only person out there to relate the story is, well, guess who? The person that seems to be the I don't want to use the villain, but the subject of the whole thing. Hey, Den, for you, nice to see you. It's I think it's going to be interesting when her book comes out. I'm honestly, I am excited about getting that book because I really want to read it and find out where she disputes Lisa Marie's book, because I will, I have absolutely no doubt that there will be some things in it that she's going to deny that were said in Lisa Marie's book. And I, till the day I die, will believe everything that Lisa Marie wrote.
Oh, yeah.
She had no reason to lie. Because, she just kept it to herself all those years. I think Lisa Marie did not want that book to come out until after she was gone. I think she kept all those notes and kept all that, and then finally, near the end, I think Lisa Marie knew she was not long for this world, because she knew her health issues. She knew what was going on, and
she knew what her father went through too.
Yeah, but I think Lisa Marie wanted to set a lot of, and I'm sure that there are hours of tapes that will never be released that probably made the wise decision to say some things just need to remain private and out there. Burn the books, burn the tapes, whatever. It's history. Because anyway, the more and more. I mean, ever since I started this channel, I've always been one that avoided as best I can the subject of Priscilla, but my eyes started to, and it wasn't that I ever favored her or liked her and supported her or defended her. I just didn't feel the conversation was worthy of somebody that I just didn't like as a person.
No.
Because my channel's about Elvis. But now, with this book coming out, I think it's a good conversation to have in the aspect of Lisa Marie. And then, because supposedly this book is from the divorce on, or what is that? I figured. But yeah, she did manipulate him. She told how to act. Elvis was so vulnerable then. Yeah, it was a tough time.
I'll be right back.
All right. And then, but the time that I really turned against her even more and really just got aggravated is the whole being buried at Graceland deal. That is just so disrespectful of the Presley family. I think it's just flat out disrespectful.
I always said goodbye. The news of Elvis's death just devastated me. And my husband of 20 years left work and came home to be with me because he heard on the radio
Susan, that's a really good point. And when Riley started doing the tour, the book tour to promote it, and the first stop she made wasn't it Memphis? And Priscilla showed up. Now, whether Riley knew it, I still think Riley. I think Riley knew she was going to be there in the audience, but I don't think I got a gut feeling that Riley didn't expect her to be there or to come out, because Priscilla had no business being there, period, whatsoever. She never appeared in another one, so I would say that Riley probably laid the law down and said, "You're not coming to any of these." And once again, guys, this is not fact. It's just my opinion and my gut feeling. And when Riley finally consented to the whole deal about Priscilla being buried there, where the hell is she going to bury her? I could tell you one thing. I'm sure Priscilla in her mind thinks that they should move some of the graves and she'd be buried next to Elvis. That would freaking infuriate me. I'm getting pissed thinking about it. I'm actually starting to get pissed about the whole thing. All right, this thing's almost over, so we'll have a conversation afterwards. I'm sorry, guys. I get
already, and he left and came
sidetracked.
home to be with me. And when he walked in the door, I'm trying to straighten up my face and put a cold rag on my eyes because I didn't want him to see how bad this had affected me. And he just put his arms around me, and he said, "It's okay to cry, hon. I know how close you were to Elvis." Now, when I look back on it, it's like a different lifetime.
That's what I said. He was right next to the rising
I was a
sun.
little stubborn, a little hard-headed, and
That wouldn't be right
I
either,
was
though.
not going to allow anyone to break my heart.
Poor rising sun.
And so it's probably a combination of me, Elvis, and Colonel Parker, that ended our relationship. But it was cherished memories.
That was actually a pretty good video.
Yeah, I like that most of the footage was in color.
Yeah, I mean, great. Yeah, I agree. And I promise you guys, I'll get that audio it has because I really want to hear that. I really want to hear what Elvis is talking about in there, and it's just, I think it's I would, I don't know. I've got ways to enhance it. I hope I can take out the audio track, run it through my software where I do the acapella, but they got a feature where I can take out background noise and I can enhance his voice. So hopefully, So what y'all think about that one? You think it was worth it, doing that one anyways? Then we'll come back to the the Gladiator ones. Hey Christina, they agreed to her to be buried there without moving any existing graves. She's to be buried in the meditation gardens near where the family is. But now from my understanding is they've got to rezone that area because it was zoned for only 6 graves. And it's got 6 there now. So, but I've heard that part, what you say, Christina. So I don't know if they resolved that zoning issue or not. I mean, there's obviously room to put her there somewhere. I just think it's so freaking distasteful.
I don't even want to go there because I just get pissed off because, in my opinion, she has no right to be there. Yeah, she was Lisa's mother and she was Elvis's ex-wife, but that's like bringing the whole story full circle. It's like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
now I mean, if ever
Oh, that's
I
cool,
would be,
brother.
if ever I would be in the position to go to Graceland, I wouldn't want to go to her. I wouldn't even want to go past her grave.
Yeah.
But yeah,
And the whole deal with her keeping Presley, because
yeah,
she changed it at one time, didn't she? Back to her maiden and then back to Presley. Am I
yeah.
correct?
She
Yeah.
changed it for the lawsuit, the recent lawsuit.
I know that there was saying that Elvis made her promise that she would never change it to Presley, but that some people say, well, that never happened. Elvis never made that claim. So, and once again, that's another thing that we'll never know. But I just, does anybody know of any ex-wives that wound up being buried to their ex-husband, famous or
Yeah,
not?
yeah.
You know, I, I, I don't. I
Where's
certainly don't
the
want my ex-wife anywhere near me.
where's the logic in that other than self-serving, having the last laugh kind of thing?
Yeah, yeah, Lori, you're right. June and Elvis's marriage. Their relationship. It was never a sensationalized relationship. She was not a nobody. She was a regular person.
Yeah.
Everything was sensationalized. And, Priscilla was a regular person, but that turned out to be a sensationalized story because of the whole process. She wound up coming out there and living there. And, and of course, all the bullshit about age and all that. People don't, people today just don't really understand. I mean, I would never marry or date. Oh, I'm 67, but anyways, at Elvis's age, I would have never been interested in anybody at that age. But I could say that and not ever be in that situation. But also, too, they got to understand the South. I mean, girls were getting married at very early ages, and it was accepted. There was nothing, you know, um, salacious about it.
But
Parents gave the permission. They could get married, and once they do that, they sign it off as legal.
here's the difference in my head, right? Uh, Put the two of them side to side, right?
Who?
Just goes,
Priscilla and June.
yeah, just goes
Yeah,
to prove June was with Elvis because she wanted to be with Elvis. Besides him being an entertainer, that was a bonus. Why do I say that? Because when the colonel got involved, she stepped up and said, "No, I'm not gonna settle for that." But the other one knew all about it. She agreed to it, stepped into it, and then still bitched about it for years and years and years and years.
yeah,
And the moment Elvis wasn't there to defend it anymore, she climbed straight back into the boat again and said, "Oh no, I can see the benefit from this. I'm going to ride it out now until the end of days." So
yeah.
go figure. Which one was a business decision that worked out well, and which one was a honest one?
I don't think I've ever heard that, Denver. I agree with you, Kim. Absolutely. Rick, you need to play the audio of Dixie Locke and Elvis' phone call. He lays the hammer down. Not sure if you have heard it. I don't think I have. I'll have to see if I'll have to check that out. I'm sure it's available somewhere. I'll have to check that out. Another thing, it'd be interesting to play, and I don't think it would be a bad video for us to do just to kind of discuss because right now, we're focusing on the Colonel because of the book coming out. We're reading the different stories, and I'm actually developing a little bit more respect for Colonel from in the beginning, and getting a different understanding of him. Still, I don't still, I still have a lot of negative things about him, but I get a little more better respect of what he did to create Elvis Presley, the legend, the legend. And I'm going to come back to that second about the word legend because it drives me bad these days. But the thing, and with Priscilla, I'm not touching stuff with Priscilla until her book comes out and I can compare it to Elvis and me. And it might be a two-show thing on the book chats, between the two and just compare. But I think it would also be cool for us to sit, it's only a 30-minute, maybe it's an hour, is to really take a listen at that lie fest that she gave to Piers Morgan in that interview.
That was so
It
that
was,
was so orchestrated it made me sick.
I mean, did she really think that real Elvis fans would believe her that Lisa Marie was in Los Angeles when he died?
Yeah, that's the sad thing. She actually does. That's why she said it.
It baffles me that she thinks, oh, you know what, Olga, that might be you know what? Yeah, hey, Den for you. That I have heard that one with Anita Woods. Yeah, you're right. Olga. Hey, Den for you. Did you mean maybe it was Anita Wood because that was a laying down of the law on that one. I'll have to pull that up. But what do you think if we did that? What do you think if we played the video of that interview with Pierce Morgan, and we did a chat about that on one of these
Oh,
watch?
like an analysis kind of thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, that would be
and,
damn
and we and
interesting.
we do it just before the book comes out, or right about that time. I don't want to do it right now because it's too far in between. Because I want to finish off with the Colonel. We got a what is this? We got less than 2 months. Excuse me. We got like 6, 8, 7 weeks left before Gronik's book comes out, and that's a freaking marathon. It's like 700 or 800 pages long. And so there's two more. I want to finish the one we're doing now. If we could ever get past some of the hilarious shit, that book's just been a fun one to chat about because there's really some um, um, uh, there's some really interesting stories in there, but there's some really comical points about that whole time period. So I want to do that. I want to do the Greg McDonald book, and then the Dick Valenga book, and everything else. We already did kind of a deep dive. Kyle did a great deep dive for us on the Atlanta Nash book. I could care less about Atlanta Nash. Yeah, noxious witch. But I'm enjoying the Colonel stuff because I really in the second half. Don't forget, on the book chat on this Saturday, we've got the second half of Renee's video that he translated to Dutch for us that was made in the Netherlands, and it's the
To
second part
English.
of what we watched on Saturday, and it's interviews with his relatives. I can't wait to hear the rest of that one. That'll be good, and then we continue with the book. There's been some good chats. Of course, we've been on Careless Love on Sundays. You're right, Olga. Yeah, okay, yeah. Yeah, after you said that. Yeah, if you haven't heard it, Laurie, yeah, we'll do it. We'll do a, maybe within the next 3 weeks. Oh, we got a call come in. Oh, cool. Oh, who we got calling? Okay, can I answer? How do I answer this? Shit. Okay. Hold on, don't hang up. Reconnect. Oh, that's the freaking front door. Okay, I don't know why it's not coming through here on my phone. Try back again. I'm a loser. Okay.
Technology.
That was coming through the Elvis chat. I don't think that's going to come through my phone. Oh, you know what? Maybe it will because of the group chat. It was on WhatsApp. Oh, here we go. Let me make sure I got the speaker right. Speaker is on. Hello, Olga.
Hi, Rick. I tried to call you and I hit the instant button and I think I called Lori Beard by accident.
Oh.
So I'm very sorry.
Okay, well, she's online with this, so.
I'm sorry, Lori. It was me, Olga.
Let me see if I can get for some reason. Okay, the volume. There we go. Yeah, how's it going?
It's going pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing good. How'd you like the 56 video?
All right. Pretty good. Very good. I liked it a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll try to rehash that other one. So.
Yeah. Well, it's hard for me to type or watch.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
So I figured I'd just call in. But on the whole Priscilla thing, did I ever tell you I went to her when she did a thing in Detroit?
Oh, really?
Like right after Lisa passed. That's where I met Sally Hodel. I met Sally Hodel.
Oh, really?
In the bathroom. I was going to the bathroom and come out, and Sally was washing her hands. I'm like, oh, shit.
Yeah. Very cool.
So anyways, I went there, and this had to be 23, I believe it was. But it was after Lisa had just passed. Oh. But I went there with an open mind. I'm never really a big fan of hers.
Right.
I really didn't have anything. I was all about Lisa and Elvis to me,
Right.
But I went, and I had decent seats. I kind of sat there to myself, and I was just watching her. She seemed so cold.
Yeah.
Very cold.
Yeah.
And you know how you see pictures of people and whatnot. And sometimes a picture, you can't always get a good vibe from somebody from a photo because it could have just been a crappy angle or whatever.
Right.
But to actually see her in person I felt such coldness from her.
Yeah,
You know what I
I've heard
mean?
the same thing from somebody else. Somebody else told me the same thing, and it's just like I don't know. I don't. After that Pierce Morgan interview, and I've known you. I wasn't a real big fan of hers before, but I wanted to
Yeah,
see how. But after I heard what she had to say in there, that just
yeah,
told me right there that this woman is just out for the buck.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
And
and
and I think even Lisa mentioned that her mom was kind of cool. You can see it, Rick. You
yeah,
can feel it. There was it almost inhuman, you
yeah,
know.
yeah.
And
She's got a
that's really sad. It's really sad.
she's got like a bone to pick. I think for some reason, and I think that
Well,
with the
kind of like she
negativity,
went after. It's like she went after victims' compensation after Elvis passed. It's like, okay, you didn't allow me to do this and this while you're alive.
give me a
I'm going to
break.
F and do it now. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It just, I found her to be very cold, very, very cold. And I did notice because I'm a smoker. So when I left, I was ready for a cigarette.
right.
So I'm standing outside of the music hall in Detroit, and there was buses. Half those people were for Priscilla. They were the ones that were up on the bleachers up there screaming, "Oh, you're beautiful!" This
Oh,
and that. People down at the bottom where I was sitting at, close to the stage, people weren't really hollering that shit. So I
wow.
kind of wonder if she had busted in her little,
Oh, that's an
little party
interesting
of
thought.
people
Yeah.
Yeah,
because
she does.
tags. I looked at the tags of the bus, and a lot of them had one had a Canada tags because Detroit's right across the river from Canada.
Yeah.
So,
Oh,
and
yeah.
then the one was like another state, and I said it's almost felt like she busted her cheering party
Yeah.
because that's all you kept hearing is applause and we love you, you're beautiful. And
Yeah.
I'm thinking to myself, I didn't feel that from her. Maybe Sally found something different, but me personally, I did not get that quality of a loving person
No,
at all.
yeah, I didn't after that because I'd seen little interviews of her with some of, the interview people like Barbara Walters and
Yes.
all that, and she always had that little bit of almost like oh, Elvis was my soulmate. She was trying to sell this story about it.
Yeah.
And then as time goes by, now she's starting to say, well, how bad of a life she had with him and what it just. Yeah,
Yeah,
the
she's
book is
so
really
to me it's
interesting.
a phony.
Yeah.
And this shit that, she's a young parent, didn't know what to do. Get the fuck out of here. There's
She
a lot of people that are single and young and are doing
yeah,
damn good with their
what was
kids.
she 21 when she got married?
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
16.
my
Get the hell
mom
out of
had
here.
the first 3 kids by the time she was 19.
Yeah.
She raised
Yeah.
us. She raised us. Well, some question me, but she
Some
raised us
people
very
just
well. And she and my father were married for
yeah.
the whole time. Till my father passed away. So it was till death day that they
Yeah.
parted. And so don't give me this crap. And she also, my mother also wound up having to raise 2 handicapped deaf kids too at the same
Right.
time. So
Right. Right. She just
spare
did
me the
not have the
spiel.
motherly. She didn't have the motherly instinct. That wasn't kids were not her thing, and she was about herself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I hate hearing that. Oh, well, she was young. Get the fuck out of
Yeah.
here.
No, I
There's
agree.
people out there really young that are taking care of their kids.
Yeah.
And Lisa was at Graceland most of the time anyway. Whenever she was at her mother sent her away. The only time she was with her mother
Exactly.
long period was after
Yeah.
Elvis died. And what did her mother do? Her mother sent her to France.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
Denver, are you right? Is that Priscilla
Yeah.
charges $150 for an item signed at a Comics Con?
She
Yeah.
can
She
suck
charges
my
a lot.
nose. I wouldn't pay her 10 pennies.
She'll be here in December for the book tour. I think I did send you the link.
Yeah.
She's
Oh
gonna be at
yeah,
Hobby
you
Lobby.
did. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to that. She is not getting another dollar of my
Yeah.
hard-earned cash.
No,
And like I said, when I saw her, Rick, this is just me, and maybe it's just I'm emotionally tied to Elvis and Lisa, but you felt it. I felt it, and I said, "Poor Lisa,
Yeah.
poor Lisa. This is what
Gr-
she had."
Yeah.
Grandma Dodger had more love in her heart than Priscilla could ever have. And Grandma's been dead
Yeah.
how many years?
Oh yes,
Yeah. No,
yeah,
she's a
and
snake in the grass. She
Yes, she is.
and I lost 100% respect for her after that Pierce Morgan when she just flat out
Oh
lied
yeah.
about where Lisa was and because she
Oh, I
totally
know.
left out and you could tell that she's got total animosity about Linda Thompson.
Yeah.
She
Well,
Of
refused.
course,
you remember
of
one of the
course.
Elvis weeks where she announced happy birthday? You can look that up on YouTube. Yeah, she's speaking at Elvis week. He's like, "Well, happy birthday. We're here to celebrate his life
Oh,
and
I
passing."
saw that. I saw that. Yes, she has no
You
clue
know,
where she was at.
no, what a freaking twit. But
Yeah,
like I said, it's just my personal feeling. I felt the coolness. I felt the cold.
yeah,
I
you can
said,
see
"Oh
it.
man, I would have went round and round with her if she was my mother." You know
Yeah,
what I mean? I could see it, and I said, Lisa did not get a break. After reading Lisa's book, seeing Priscilla, it just all fit. I said, "You're just a shit person."
yeah,
It's a shame. It's
yeah.
a shame, and it's a shame what Lisa had to endure. You know.
Yeah, I remember several years ago, Priscilla came through Atlanta for something. I don't know if it was charity or whatever. And at that time, I was able to get around and do things. And somebody said, "Hey, Priscilla's going to be downtown. She's doing some kind of get together and a meet and a greet, and
Yeah.
she's signing something and all that." And I looked at him and I said the same thing that I said to Louie. I'd rather have a call in Muscovy than go see you. I have
Yeah.
no interest in sitting in a room and watch you spiel a bunch of lies. None
Right.
whatsoever.
You
And
know
the
what?
worst
You
was,
know what
yeah,
really
that's
gets to me?
gouges you financially. Just
Yeah,
to be there, you pay one price. To get the book autographed, you pay another price. Why can't she just have autographed books there like Riley did? And when you bought your ticket, you got your book.
yeah. What was
You know
that,
what I
Yeah.
mean?
Cam? What was that,
No,
Cam?
the greatest bone of contention for me with regard to Priscilla is we all know that a child's brain doesn't stop developing until the age of 21, right? The thing that says volumes to me is at Lisa's most vulnerable period in her life, at the age of 9, she's just lost her father. The first person she calls is Linda Thompson.
Yep.
She could have phoned her mother. Why didn't she not phone her mother? That speaks
Yeah.
volumes.
Whoa,
And for that
huge.
reason,
Well,
for that reason and that reason alone, Priscilla will always have an issue with Linda Thompson because at the end of the
oh,
day,
for sure.
Priscilla knows as a woman, Olga, you're a woman, you guys have a sixth sense to know that if a child gravitates to you for some reason emotionally, there is always an issue there. And she knows for a fact, and nobody can ever take that away from Linda.
Right.
Linda was there emotionally more for Lisa than her own mother was, and
Yeah.
Elvis knew that.
Yeah.
I mean, regardless if Lisa Call or Sam Thompson or whatever, but Linda Thompson was the first person she spoke to about her dad.
Yeah.
And what does that tell you?
Yep.
You know what I mean?
A-
Her mom was so far off the
And
radar.
and it was right that way until the day that Lisa died,
Yeah.
because
It's
who put
absolutely.
who gave Lisa her big break with recording her first album? Who was the one that encouraged her to do it?
Yeah.
Not Priscilla. It was Linda's husband. It
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
Linda's husband. And she went back to Linda and she said to Linda, "You think Daddy would be proud of me? Do you think I
Oh.
could do this?" And Linda was the one that said, "Go for it.
Yeah.
Go
Yeah,
for it." The
absolutely.
the people that buy your music are not gonna buy your music because of your daddy. They're gonna buy your music because you're good. And
Yeah.
what happened at the end of the day? She did it. And she
Yeah.
came back and she
Did
said,
it?
as difficult as it was, she says she's glad she did it because she put something inside her to rest that had woken up at the age of
She
3.
put her soul in those
Yeah.
albums when she wrote those songs. Yeah, I mean, it's
Yeah.
just like that one about when she talks about being buried in the damn backyard. I can't remember the name of the
Yeah.
song. I
Yeah.
mean,
Lights out.
you feel lights out. That's an awesome song, and
But
you,
those three albums are great. I
oh,
have them.
I do
That
too.
music
I
is
went out and
great.
bought them
It's great.
as soon
Yeah.
as they came out. Man, they are good.
Yeah. I was so proud and happy for her. I wanted to see that, and I'm glad she did do that in her short life. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
It,
But
it was her.
yeah,
I
but
think it was her way of saying, "Yeah,
yeah,
I can do this if I want to,
yep, she can.
and
But she just
I don't need daddy to do it. Well, I don't mean that in a negative way. Oh, I
right.
don't need my mom's approval to do this.
Yeah,
No.
absolutely. No, I just wanted to touch base with you
No, I
guys.
appreciate you.
You were talking about Priscilla.
I always enjoy you. I think Kathleen put a comment up here that it was a very interesting what you were having to say, and it is. You, I'm right along with you on it all. I just have a bad taste, but I really
And go ahead.
no, that's why I'll put out the offer about. I think just before her book comes out and I do the review on it and the discussion, I want to watch that interview and have us have a night. I would be an interesting
Oh,
conversation with us.
well, yeah, you got to. You got to review it. The book has to be reviewed.
Oh, yep.
We got to discuss it. But I mean, I mean, like I said, when I went to see her and got my ticket to see her, I didn't really know much about Priscilla.
Yeah.
I really didn't. I had my personal vibes. It wasn't because I was reading headlines.
Right.
It's just that I remember her because I was a little kid when Elvis passed. I'm a year
Yep.
year younger than Lisa. So I remember seeing Lisa on TV, and I always thought that little girl's never going to have a good life again.
No.
Not like what she was with her daddy. And I always just, went there very open-minded. And I found her to be very, very cold.
Yeah.
You know what
You
I
can
mean?
see it. Nothing she does is not calculated.
And Lisa had to spend her entire life after Elvis died defending him.
Yeah.
The lies that
probably
not
had to
only
do it
from people like Red and all of them, but from her own
from her
mother. And
Yeah.
that got to be soul breaking. But I'm with you. I don't think Lisa ever had a close relationship with her mom at any period of her life. I mean, even in her book, it talks about how Lisa mentioned that that she felt that Vernon was cold to her, and she
Yeah.
felt that Priscilla's mother was cold to her. What didn't treat her like, and that says volumes.
It
I mean,
does.
she didn't even call her. She didn't even call Priscilla's mother
Yeah.
grandma.
Yeah.
Exactly. And when you're a little kid, you're so perceptive to everything.
Oh.
And you might not have the language to articulate the words, but you feel it. You feel
Yeah,
like,
I'm
I don't feel good with this person.
with
you
my
know?
my grandmother. I had a good relationship. There was nothing negative about her, but she was never one of those ones that was touchy feely, cold hug, and all that kind of
Yep.
stuff. I knew she
Yep.
loved me, and I was her first grandchild, and but I can still remember to this day my grandfather, my mom's dad. My grandparents were divorced before I was born. He lived not far from us, and I still remember how much. He died when I was 6 years old, but I remember going over there, and he was the hug, kiss, I love you, see you, let me show you this, let's do this, and he played and those memories stand out more to me emotionally than I had with my grandmother, who I did love and had a good relationship, but it was not one of those ones that I felt like. It was I guess intimate would be the only word I can really think of.
Yeah, well, there's a distance there. You don't get the attachment.
Yeah.
That's how my grandmother is. That's how my mother is.
Yeah.
I'm the opposite. I like to hug and kiss people,
Yeah.
even strangers. You know?
Yeah, it took me a while to get to that point because it kind of was in my family at that point. But as I broke away, and then I developed a real close relationship with my father. I always had a good close relationship with my mom, but it was never the same thing. It wasn't one of those touchy feely things. And that I love you didn't really come out a lot, but it was my dad and I we developed that relationship, and I got more and more to that. I say it on the show all the time where I love my subscribers. I say it to Cam at times, unless he's being a pain in the ass. But no, I'm just kidding. You know what I mean? It's just it's
but
easier
I
to say.
feel you, Rick.
Yeah.
I totally feel you, but but like I said, just to sum it up, that was my feelings, and it made Lisa's book and her words come to life. All the things I thought as a small child came to be true. I felt it. And I'm like, oh man, that woman will never get another dollar out of me.
Yeah, no,
I don't care
the
where
only
she
thing
travels
the only thing she'll get from me is a book, and then
Right, and you have to get it. You have to get
yeah,
it.
and
If you're an
then
Elvis channel,
I'll
you have
either
to.
burn it or I'll sell it on eBay and get my money back. You know,
Right, yeah.
and I don't want the signed copy. I have no interest in getting a signed copy because I
Right,
guess you can
right.
get that if you order it from somewhere. You could get the sign, and I
Yeah,
could care less. I'd rather have a
yeah,
signed
yeah,
copy of Peter Gronick,
yeah.
But
Well, no, but absolutely, as an Elvis channel and all the Elvis channels, they're all going to have to get this book. They're going to
yeah,
have, it's either going to have to be read, it's going to have to be discussed with us fans.
yeah.
Because I tell
I
you
want to
what,
dissect it and to compare. Actually, I think what I'll do. That's a good point, Olga. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to dissect it, but I'm also going to read Lisa's book too.
yeah,
And then I want that way I could do a well, this is it kind of proved my thought that it's written in defense of that also.
yep, absolutely. I
Yeah.
just know that when you do the show for the book, for Priscilla's book, I better take one of my pills to calm me down because I know, I'm going to
Yeah.
have a very unfiltered mouth, very unfiltered
Yeah.
thoughts. Because
It'll be a great
it
show.
just, yeah, and I feel so bad that Lisa had to endure
Yeah.
that particular person in her life.
Yeah.
My,
What awful.
my question is this. I'm just putting it out there. Priscilla knew about Lisa's book a long time before it came out, right?
Oh yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
why didn't she put out the book when Lisa was still here?
Yes. Thanks, Priscilla.
Yeah, or why didn't you do this 20, 30 years ago?
Yeah.
Why
Uh-huh.
did you wait until now?
Yeah.
Because Lisa got that contract for that book like in 2019.
Yeah.
And then the situation with Ben happened, and it just, you know what I mean? It kind of came to a stop for
Yeah.
her. But she had
So
made the book deal in 19.
So the mere fact that she put the book out, she's planning to put the book out after Lisa's not here to defend herself
Yeah.
or her
Yeah.
father,
Absolutely.
Exactly. And that's what
tells you exactly what BS she's going to get in that
she
book.
did it with Elvis, and now
Oh,
she's
yeah.
doing it with Priscilla. And
She
I
did it
could,
once.
I
She
could
did it
just,
twice before with the Elvis and me.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I could just imagine the things that would come out of her mouth if Riley was to pass away.
Whoa.
Don't say that, Rick.
You,
Don't say that.
you
Don't
know
say
it.
that. We can't have that.
But Riley's proof that Lisa took what she didn't have and put it all 10 times
Yeah.
over to Riley,
Yeah.
Benjamin, and Finley and Harper. Those
Yeah.
kids were loved,
Absolutely.
and look at them. I mean,
Yeah.
it's unfortunate. Ben, I think the pressure was on him too much, but Riley is an outstanding human being.
Yeah.
I mean, she's
And
just
she doesn't got it easy. She's in a rock and a hard spot, that poor
Yep.
child.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I feel for her. I feel for the twins. I mean, they're still young yet, so they're kind of kept back. But wait till they get of age where they can start standing on. And if Priscilla's still here and she tries to do them girls like she did Lisa, oh man, I feel
okay.
for those girls.
I don't know if
do.
you're able to see the comments here.
I cannot.
So Din
No.
for you says, Olga, you rock. Okay, now here's Kathleen. This is a good one. New show name, Unfiltered with Olga Ann.
Absolutely. Oh, I got a potty mouth.
Now, hey, listen, I've actually been kicked offline for saying some words before when
Yeah.
I a little overemphasis of a few words, but no,
Yeah,
that's what I love about doing this. Everybody knows that watches the show that we speak our mind. We're gonna say it, and like I tell anybody that leaves a comment, say, you shouldn't be saying this, and you shouldn't be saying. I say, well, you know what you do? You change the channel.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
it. If you don't
yeah.
like the content, change the channel.
Yeah, I got a comment
But-
today on one of my video. I put a little short video out today with Elvis and Tupelo, and some lady put a comment there. You shouldn't be using EAP to get views for your channel.
Oh,
So I replied to her. I go, well, first of all, I couldn't care any less about how many views I get. I said, I've been a fan since 1962. I do this for my love of Elvis and the legacy. And if you don't like, what you see, turn the channel. If you don't know how to turn the channel, I will be more than happy to send you directions of how to click on another channel.
Absolutely.
You
Well,
know.
and she must have watched, so you should say, hey, thank you for watching.
Yeah, actually, I do say that a lot. I do say that every now and then. I didn't say it today,
That's what
but
you tell 'em.
thanks for the
Thank you
view.
watching.
You know?
Exactly, because that's what they're doing, you
Yeah.
know. But But
All right.
yeah, like I said, I just wanted to touch base with everybody, and the
No,
subscribers are freaking great. I love them all. I love this channel. I love you guys.
thanks. We love hearing from you, Olga. I'm glad you were able to call in. It's always
I
fun.
am.
And
All right.
so you take it easy, and then be careful, and then we'll catch you real soon.
Yeah, I'll see you on Saturday. Adios.
All right. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Always a great conversation with Olga.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think after her and a lot of the comments in here, I think a couple of days of focusing on her book and comparisons would be really interesting conversation. And just before we'll just do a chat and evaluation of that interview, because that to me kind of sets this whole thing in motion, because she did that just after Lisa died, and when she heard the book was coming out, if I'm correct about timing.
Yeah.
And that whole at the end when she started talking about Lisa dying, she acted like she was going to break down, but I don't believe it for a minute.
No.
She asked to break away for a second. It's an act. I mean, she was an actress. She got into, well, based on using Elvis's name, but she got into it.
She learned young. She was 14 when she learned.
Yeah.
So she's got a
Well,
couple of years experience.
The more and more, well, like I said, I've always stood neutral about her because I just didn't think she was worthy. I didn't think there was enough out there to really develop a conversation. The little tit tats in here, and her not like an Anne Margaret. To me it wasn't much. But since Lisa Marie died, is when I've turned completely around as far as even more so that I always gave her props that she helped to save Graceland. But the more I think about it, the more I think her name got in her. She just got into the middle of it, and she takes credit for things that she really, shouldn't get credit for. She was just involved with. And, and I'm sure that the people that were involved with it used her for the sake of her name.
Mm-hmm.
And, she's milking the cow for as much as she can get, but I'm just disgusted with some of the things that I'm hearing now. I've never, contrary to what some people believe, and everybody in this channel knows that in all the years I've been doing this, I've never said anything supportive of her at all. I just never talked about her. But with her book coming out, and with what may be said, I think it's time that we all have a conversation and expose, to me, from my channel, expose the bullshit that she's going to be putting out. I have no doubt that's going to happen. And Banjo Paul is in the house. Priscilla was straight-faced and did an act to hold her head up and pretend to sniffle. Yep, that's exactly what I was saying. For those, I want to say, I mentioned this at the beginning, but I just want to bring this up again because I really appreciate it. I can't thank everybody enough. But today I hit over 24,000 subscribers. I've been able to gain almost 500 new subscribers in the last month, and that has to do with these conversations we have with you guys, and to me, the product that puts out that shows the legacy of Elvis. And so I thank everybody for that. When we hit 25,000, I'm going to do something special. I'm going to give away. I'll give away. So you know what I might do is I purchased new copies of Last Train to Memphis and Careless Love, and I might give each one of those away as a giveaway, because I've got them on Kindle. The books will only sit on the shelf, and they're brand new. They're in excellent condition. So I might go ahead and give those away when we hit 25,000. But thank you everybody for that. I really appreciate it. Yeah, Olga. Lily says Olga was great. Banjo Paul, thanks.
Thank you, bro. That's not much of my work. It's more that guy over there.
Well, let me say this. My channel has redirected its focus in a lot of ways. I started doing lives back in October. a little bit before October, and I kept holding off and holding off. Before I was just doing production videos and stuff like that, but we've developed a really nice family here, and it's all because of what you and I put together, Cam. Because we play off each other and we give a little bit of an entertainment to it, and that's our purpose. I didn't want to do some droll chat and droll show with just me talking and doing the same thing every freaking week. We want something to change up, but we want people to be involved. That's why I want people to call in and talk and give their opinion, and that's why I have no problem with us going off on different topics, like with Colombo or cooking or whatever, because that's what people do that are a family and our community is. You guys, you sit around and talk. Yeah, it's an Elvis channel. It's an Elvis channel sharing what they love to do, and that involves things like TV shows and we're nostalgic. We're talking about days, back when Elvis was alive, and it just, Cam and I was excited all day to get this show going today, and with our new format that we do to make sure we're rested up for Saturday. Today we're done. On Thursday we're going to record inside the studio with our special guest. You guys will really enjoy who our guest is going to be. I'm excited about it. So we got a special guest going to join us. He's picked two of the songs. He's picked Padre and Loving Arms. They're great sessions. And then we're going to continue with American Sound with Hold You in My Heart, which Elvis plays the piano, and they did it all in one take. And so those were the two songs were his pick, and we're going to talk about it. He's going to put his input and all that. So I'm excited about that. But between the end of this show and until Saturday morning when we start the book talk, we're resting. So we're cranked up for a full day of Elvis, and we're rested for Sunday. And then from Sunday till tonight is almost 2 days of us resting. Cam and I didn't even communicate, I don't think, for the whole day. Monday, maybe a message real quick. We just stay away. Stay away is not the right word. We just stay away from the channel, and I still do my little stuff. I put little stuff together when I'm fine. So we want to give you a good, energetic product, and if we're exhausted, then it doesn't come out good. So right now, our format is what we're doing now. There might be little things here and there that we're going to do, but especially with the radio, which I hope you guys are, I hope check it out. It's really a lot of fun. No commercials, 24/7, and no song plays twice within a 6-hour period. No particular track. Some albums have, the song again, but anyway, that's what we're doing, and we love it. Sanford and Son, oh yeah, great show. Priscilla was in court. Priscilla missing million. Frail Priscilla panics over missing millions. Elvis family demands answers. I've kind of heard something. Is that? I know she's involved with what's her name? Bridget Cruz in some lawsuit. I haven't really followed too much. Banjo Paul or Gruesome Twosome still waking up. Cam sounds like Bill Cosby. I see if I catch up. All right, guys. Well, 2.5 hours. It's been a fun conversation. We will see you. The next show we'll be on is the book chat on Saturday morning, 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, where we continue with the Colonel's book, and we see the second half of the video that Renee from Hidden Minds shared with us. It's interviews with Colonel Parker's relatives in the Netherlands. Renee doesn't live too far from not very far from where Colonel was raised and born. So it's interesting. But the film was made in the Netherlands, and he's translated it for us. So it's been narrated into English. So the first half was very interesting. Really some good points that I've never seen before. And then the premiere at 2 o'clock of Inside the Studio. Then we got our next watch party, which I don't know what. I think we're going to do the one Fit for a King about the jumpsuits. It's got Bill Ballou in there, who was one of the ones that started making Elvis's jumpsuits. In fact, I think the first thing he did make for Elvis was the black leather suit
Yeah, it was.
for '68. Yeah, Kathleen. Yeah, but yeah, if you notice, Kathleen, we're still live. It would be amazing if we do get by. I think we've covered a lot broad spectrum. We've talked more about Priscilla tonight than we have, I can think, in a long ever.
Yeah.
Olga's call was great, though. That was a great call on Priscilla. You
Oh
know.
yeah, it's gonna be steamy when that book comes out. I tell you for that. I tell you that much.
Yeah, it comes out in September. So Gronik's book will be in August. So we'll be pretty much done with all the Colonel stuff.
Two of my favorite subjects back to back. Yeah,
And
that's gonna
then
be
Elvis Week, we got a lot. We got a lot planned for Elvis Week. So you guys tune in. We're going to do a live feed. There's got cameras there at Grayson, so we're going to do a live feed of the vigil, and we're probably going to simulcast it with. We're talking about simulcasting it with Rich's channel, so it'll go to both channels. And I've also been, for those of you who don't know, I have a Rumble page, and it's an Elvis-A-Z. Not a whole lot of subscribers, but I love it because I can put videos up there that I can't hear. But our shows, our lives have been getting simulcast to Rumble at the same time for the last week and a half. So I'm excited about that. Maybe increasing some of our following and viewers on these. What was I at? So Elvis Week, we got that. Then the next day we'll do the it's the anniversary of Elvis's passing. And then we're gonna do some. Olga's gonna be visiting some places, and we're gonna be, she's got a press pass down there with it from us, and so she's really working. I think we're gonna have an awesome Elvis Week live with some live stuff, or even just pre-recorded stuff. It depends upon what's happening. Olga's running the show for that, so she's going to let us know what I don't want to be telling her what to do. I want her to tell us what she's going to do. So, we've been talking about a little bit about plans of daily reports or what she's doing that day, and if she can, maybe do a quick live feed. So we'll do some. That's why I want everybody to get into the WhatsApp group and our Discord group that I've just created, because you'll get instant notifications of, hey, we're going live in 15 minutes, where you won't get those through YouTube and all that. You won't get those as quick. So join our WhatsApp group, join our Discord. I'll have the links in the description below, and you'll get the notifications. We've got 13 in the WhatsApp, and I just started the Discord one. And so right now I've got 3 people in there. And I'd like to build them up so we can, especially for Elvis Week, last minute. No, hey, we're going live. It's wherever she's at.
Okay, here we go. One cost 10 for you, Austin. Lori's probably late, or she missed it the first time around, so that's the last time. Here we go.
Oh my God! One more time, Kim. Hey, brother's worst nightmare: elder abuse. Yeah. When we play that video of the interview with Pierce Morgan, I think that's going to wind up being one of those. It's going to be a long time before we say goodbye at the end of that one.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to really develop into one heck of a conversation. And then sometime in the next few shows, we'll pop up the guitar and maybe do something. I don't know what.
See, you're not alone. You're not alone. I got Kathleen too this time.
Yeah, blew my ears. I know you are loud. I don't know. I can't turn you down because you're freaking loud when you do that. It kind of like It's like when you get. It's like when feedback comes through and it throws you out. That hey does the same thing to me. It's like.
You mean like?
Oh my God, Cam! You gotta blow my headphone speakers out. All right, guys. let's do it. Let's say goodbye. I'm gonna get tired here in a minute. Fun conversation. Thank you all for hanging out.
That's always
You know,
good.
I apologize for the quality of the first video, but I'm going to work on it, see if I can get it worked out, because I really want to hear what they're talking about, what Elvis is saying, and all that. And so hopefully I can get that tweaked out, because it'll be fun to really watch that. Other than that, Cam has an awesome burp. Banjo Paul, he needed. Well, I can imagine you're awake now.
Well, I hope
My
so.
geez. Oh my geez, Cam. Yeah, it is loud. It's almost, it makes my speaker rattle. That's why I'm saying it's pretty loud.
Yeah, there we go, Lily. You're more than welcome to do that.
All right, so what do we got? We got a farewell thing here. Let's see. Um, all right, guys. Listen, y'all have a good day, good night, good afternoon, wherever you may be at. Look forward to Saturday morning book chats. Saturday's going to be a fun day, another full day of Elvis. And we appreciate everybody's support. Thank you for helping us get to 24,000. Onward, soldiers. We will keep going, and but the biggest thing is just that we have people that enjoy it and we have fun. So thank you. And till we meet again, how was Elvis put it? Till we meet again, adios. All right. Talk to you later.
Bye, guys.